evening, WEOLA. I have two subjects I'd like to discuss with you. The first one is about, I've had a very clarifying week. On the back of our session last week, predominantly to do with the conversation that you had with Heather about really wanting something. And in her case, it was a child. But for me, I took away from that really wanting something that would be life-changing if you got it or made it happen. And I discovered that when I really looked through the job that I spoke to you about last week, the director role, I didn't want it. And this only happened yesterday because I left it until Saturday. And I really sort of understood that I had this desire for a job like this about 10 years ago, and I've not let that want go. But now I can appreciate the level of responsibility that I have with my current role, because what I know I do want is more free time and more me time. So I'm starting to create a question around creating other income streams and opening up new and different ways of looking and using the skills that I have. I don't know what, don't know how, but it feels an awful lot more ease. So I just wanted to share that with you because that really was on the back of the conversation that we had with Heather.
That focus on that wanting, you mentioned a very long period of time, of 10 years, that focus on something that you wanted at one point and then allow the context of that wanting. Your wanting is always placed within some kind of context. Now, we have not discussed this way before, but your wanting is always in a way compared or checked based off of some kind of a context you're in. And that wanting that you had at some point, as you said, on earlier stages of that 10-year period, something that got interwoven with the context so much so that you for some time did not lose the focus of that wanting. As we often say, that wanting, once you continue having focus on it, does not show itself in your reality. And sometimes it keeps you from experiencing something that you don't necessarily want, or you did not necessarily want even at that time. Now, all of these options are possible, and we're not going to go and dwell on and try to analyze what was happening in this particular case. But I want to clarify that the reason why something like this did not show to you up until now is because of your focus on clearly wanting it. And as you released that wanting, you could see then about that particular thing showing to your experience or not. Or that idea that has been received and has been guided you and has been activating that wanting got you to experience so many different things are the cause of these 10 years. So that wanting could have been a guiding light for you to acquire this skill and this skill and this skill and this skill and have this experience and this experience and this experience and this experience, and to guide you to be in this place of where you are dominantly now, which is this more integrated and more integrated and more integrated blended being in your physicality and non-physicality at the same time, and making those choices. Kosta has found these experiences in his corporate world where he was asked and always constantly progressed. On a dot of every couple of years, he would change completely the role he was having, and he always looked at it as an upgrade and as an upgrade, as an upgrade. And as he was so excited to be so intellectually stimulated from this position and this position and this position, and would take on one role and then double that and then triple that, and being more and more efficient and more excited about that, that was really satisfying to him. That movement of that scale in those promotions that you talk about this position and this director position and that director position. And then at one point he got ahead of it. He got ahead of it in the sense of looking what is the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that is satisfying to you. We're offering this example because it's very similar. It's very similar of that discovery that you have found, that clear wanting of looking how efficient you can get, how many more skills you can acquire, how many more things you can get your job done with in certain way, in your focused way, in your intellectual way, and then checking off all of these boxes. And now that maybe even final thing that you've been wanting for 10 years starts presenting itself to you in a hint, in a hindsight of this and this and this and this. And then you actually seeing what would have happened, receiving these ideas, what would have happened if you were to take this position and this position and this position, as Kosta started thinking of building the family and having this building of family, how would that coincide with certain things? And that clear preference of him wanting to be a CEO of the company, him wanting to become a partner in that company, all of a sudden had so much more clarity that that was something that drove him to get all of these extra skills that now he is to discover where they're going to be put next. Because everything that you acquire with your attention, in your experience of your own creation process, is always of use to you for something else and for something else. And that something else you acquire for something else. You see, you're in this constant movement of building infinite layers of your awareness and where your focus is going. And you can call that layers of skill, how to live life. And we like to say that your layers of making preferences. And this experience you have right now is dominant within you and showing you a different thing, something you have not seen for those 10 years, something you have not seen so clearly about what you want, which is to have more experiences of your flexibility, of making your own schedule, of understanding that there are other ways of you finding the experience of that flow, that energy in focused way as you do in satisfaction of this and any other position you had with someone else. We like to call this also your bringing of your steadiness within you, that it was so far a natural process to have focused within one organization, within one type of work. And now, from what you're saying, seems that you're ready to mix it up. You're ready not only to keep steady focus on one thing and then expand it with all of these different options and different positions and different workloads that you're having, but to go even outside of that and see what is there, where can you apply yourself more. In other words, when you're ready to have this steadiness and momentum of your focus and you know what you can do with your focus in this intellectual way, then what ends up happening is you're looking for a distraction. In the most positive way, distraction, how you can amplify and multiply your focus movement from your own project into the project of working for someone else, into the project of partnering with someone else. In other words, this steadiness of the environments of movement through positions and this momentum of choosing the similar outcome in terms of working for someone and now having opportunities to mix it all up just says about your steadiness to find not only more ease, but to find more exciting things to create from. Because for as long as you have focus, for as long as you're in this and in every other physical iteration, that is what you're doing. You're adding layers to your awareness, you're adding layers to your experience, and everything you're doing is just building up for more and more satisfying experiences as you get to understand and see that it's not only about spending time in vibration of answer, but having this beautiful flow in where you can apply your focus as well as how you can apply your unfocus.
And the steadiness is definitely something I'm feeling more of, because I can certainly say there would be no regret now in not applying. Excuse me. So that steadiness I'm beginning to feel is growing. I've got one other thing. Let me just take a sip.
Go ahead.
It's completely different. Since my ex-husband passed away, I've had 3 very, very clear dreams of, well, I say clear dreams, very clear images of him in the dream. I had one last week, so I thought, well, I'm going to speak to WEOLA about this, because it's not normal, it wasn't happening before. And he looks like he did when we were together. But each dream, I don't really remember it, but I really remember him clearly, like the image is so clear I could shut my eyes and still see it. But it leaves me feeling with a feeling of sort of angst or caution. And last week in the dream, the other thing that I do remember is that he moved his hand towards me and I pulled my hand away. And I don't remember anything else really from that. So obviously understanding that he's transitioned and he's in source energy, I do believe that he's trying to tell me something. And is it really about just take your time?
this feeling of caution, this feeling of measuring things up would never come to you in the place from that everything that exists feeling that you just so clearly gotten in your steadiness about your work you spoke about a moment ago. This experience of ease, of somebody not coming to warn you. There is nothing for you to be warned about, as you're always having access to the whole dance of question and answer. There is nothing like even answer vibration within you would never find that place of trying to guide you to stay away from anything, because everything that you're going through in your experience, it's all movement about you adding another layer, and another layer to your own experience. Dreams often have these experiences of what is dominant within you, and it can be interpreted in many ways, and you can find any way to interpret, but we would not look too much into all of those details. We would continue to have this steadiness and this choice about the feeling of what you want to have as you're having conversations and receiving some of the images in conversations with someone who is physically present or not anymore physically present in that particular form. This ease and these choices. If there is anything you ever want to be reminded of as you're observing something that it's easy and comforting, or as you're observing something that it's discomforting and not so easy, is that at all times you have the choice. At all times there is choice moving through you. Choice that you're having with where you place your attention and for how long you keep your attention at that particular topic, and then have option to go into a place of less focus in a process of unfocusing and softening up before you direct your thought to something else, and then to something else, and to something else, as so clearly you're doing in your work, from shifting from this place of steady and directing where your focus goes. Not what and how are you going to get this idea into your physicality, but just directing your focus for the purpose of directing the focus. And as you direct your focus on purpose here and here and here and here, then on purpose, then with this deliberate feeling, then with this confidence, you can observe the whole creation process moment by moment by moment.
Okay. So just feel more at ease with it when I dream about him, really. I think, is it because that I've been in the groove with him for so long, and changing my perspective of that is why I'm dreaming?
There is always some kind of memory that can come to you from times of the past, as well as the vision, the picture of something that's coming up can come to you for the future. But it's always happening in the moment of now. And at that moment, as we spoke to you and started emphasizing more and more choice, is how do you see and how do you change the past, or how do you actually get ahead of what is the future? Whatever you perceive, images of future are happening now. Your now observation is happening now. Your memory of something before is happening now. So you have an opportunity for that memory, or for that vision, or for even this conversation you're having right now, to be making choices moment by moment by moment by moment. And in making those choices, in having this clear, steady place of directing your focus, where you are director of where your focus is going, that moment you understand that you can change the memory, because memory that you're having has infinite vibrations within it. The ones that are dominant within you are your choice now, because you're experiencing it now.
Yeah, and I can feel that moment by moment, as you're saying it, making that choice. So that's perfect. Thank you very much, WEOLA. Enjoyed both conversations immensely.